And we're on. We're live.
Yay!
We actually made it. I don't quite know how, but
it was a little bit hairy for a minute.
A few technical difficulties. Nothing insurmountable.
It's all right. I'm looking at myself on YouTube, and I'm looking at myself on Facebook. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how we've done it, but it's
we're here.
So just about.
For those who haven't noticed, Ben is not with us tonight.
Yeah.
Which means that John is in charge of tech.
It's never a good thing.
Should we just say it hasn't been the smoothest journey so far this evening?
But that's not John's fault.
No, well, I don't know.
Do you know what? If you're in charge of the tech, you're in charge of the tech. There is no way around it. All I know is it is not my fault. But we're here at the moment. John's just done like a
there you go. Look at that. Ding!
Yay!
Yeah, I've now switched the writing around. I'm watching this monitor. A monitor in front of me, and everything's back to front. And I'm thinking,
yes.
Oh my goodness! So
that's another little button I needed to play with. You see, you know.
Yeah, but it's been interesting so far.
It has. And you might have guessed. Look. He's in the chat already.
Yeah.
It's not his fault either.
No.
Yeah.
In the chat.
No.
So he's on YouTube as well, which is good. So it's really good for anybody who wants to watch us.
Multitasking. Yeah.
I'll wait for that to set. I'll wait for that to kick in on my computer. That might be Steam powered at this rate or something, you know. So there we go.
But there, he's there. He's heckling. We've got lots of friends in the chat.
Yeah.
What are we talking about, John? Are you in charge tonight?
Am I in charge?
Or are you just on the tech? What?
I don't know. I think if I'm in charge, I'm doing tech. The whole thing could just go.
It could go very, very wrong.
It could be a very short hour. It could be one of them where you just get people just laughing from afar.
I hope you know where everything is in Ben's drawers beside you. He's
like,
you know what I mean?
That's part of the problem.
Ben's got things like snuck away in secret places and inside the in the mothership there, and I'm hoping that you know where everything is.
Yeah,
we could end up with all sorts coming out tonight.
I know, it's really weird.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about cast members, and actually, I think it's a really good topic to involve lots of people in the chat.
Yep, and
also just to really put that connection back across towards, good and bad experiences at any of the Disney parks. We're not going to limit it to Walt Disney World.
Nope.
But also just that awareness that when things go horribly wrong, you sometimes do need somebody there to sort of pick up the pieces.
Yeah.
And it's what's quite nice is the fact that sometimes when Disney get it right, they do it marvelously well. When it goes kind of pear-shaped, which is the bits they don't like to talk about, it can be the most horrific experience. So we could end up talking quite a lot about lots and lots of different personal experiences. So hopefully we'll keep it positive. But I'm also aware that we do need to share the negative side, because actually we're not going to just sort of sugarcoat the Disney Corporation and become an advertising slot for them either. Just another little tech thing as well. It's good to know that the YouTube chat has decided to show up as well, so that's nice.
Okay, that's good.
Because we missed Butch. Butch was the first one on YouTube, and he said hello.
He was, yeah,
and he didn't appear. So if you're still watching us and didn't think we're being really rude there, Butch, then Butch in Baltimore.
Butch is used to it. He's used to it.
No, just good to see you there.
So talking of Butch, are we going to say hello to people?
I think we need
I think we have to. There's enough people who turned up to say hello to us.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Here we are. So,
and that's a tricky one for me, because on my computer it goes all really small. So if we don't click on the right one, then it's my eyes that are the issue, not anything else. So
who have we got? We had said hello to. We saw that Ben was there. Lisa Milam's with us.
Thanks for joining us.
I'm going to be contacting you later this evening about some hotel things. because Lisa's also a travel agent for Disney. So
Cool.
we will. I'm going to be.
Sounds intriguing.
I think in your language, John, I'd say I'm going to be tapping her up.
Excellent. Yeah,
that's the right words, isn't it?
I think it is. Yeah, it's just making use of her expertise.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who else? It was Butch. Yeah, and then we've got who else? Carrie's there.
Carrie.
Yeah.
Dan.
And
your Dan.
Sorry, I missed Dan. Yeah.
Hello, Carrie.
I'll be in trouble.
Yeah.
And Chris is there all the way over in California. Lovely to see you. It must be like breakfast time for you at the moment. And of course, we are an hour later than usual in America. Because our clocks haven't changed. They don't change till Saturday night. So who else have we got in there?
We've got Attraction Seekers who's just joined us.
That's fantastic. Lovely to have you
Hello,
here.
Attraction Seekers.
And
I
saw Wendy sneaking in.
Wendy. Fantastic. Chris Blagg, I mentioned Chris as well.
Yeah, I said Chris. It's lunchtime there for him. 1:30.
Yep.
That's
lovely.
I think
that's so funny.
Yeah.
Normal hours resume on Sunday. Yes.
But she's on the drive home, which is always a good.
Yes. But you missed the last bit of his message, John. You didn't say the beginning bit.
All hail Queen Claire. You go, let's bow down. We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
That's an amusing joke for the Here with the Magic crowd. So we are talking cast member interactions. How do you want to play this, John? Shall we start with something positive each, or shall we?
Do we do it area by area?
Yeah, I think we've got to start. Do you know something? I'm just going to show this picture because this is something that it really tickled me when I had I don't know what the saying is for a gaggle of like trainee cast members, and they were following.
It must be a collective noun for
them. But they were following me across Epcot. So surreptitiously, you get your phone, and I thought this would make a really good picture just for me travel blog and stuff. And so I thought they weren't looking. And there's this cast right in the middle, and I just thought, that sums up just that whole experience of they're just in training. They realise what they must stick out like a sore thumb in the middle of the park on a day like that, and still they managed to make what was just an ordinary photo. And it wasn't until later that I looked back and I thought, there you go, you nailed that. It was brilliant.
Those red shirts and their little red earning my ears tags on their badges. But
hello, Nick.
Yeah, Nick joined us. It's great to see you.
Hi, Nick. Thanks for joining us as always.
And I think we've all had great experiences with cast members. I've certainly had a couple where I've been less than happy. One of which I will talk about later. But in general, I think the overwhelming majority of cast members are fantastic. They work for the company, not necessarily. It's not about the money that they're earning. I think for most of them, I don't think they earn huge amounts. And there's lots of jobs that people who are extremely well qualified do that in other industries they might not. So, and certainly then you start branching into college program, and then now re-recruiting, and which is fantastic. So, lots of different versions of cast members, those who are in charge, those who are just learning. And I think their training probably not as comprehensive as it used to be. I'm trying to keep going, John. I'm not going to draw attention to the fact that you're pressing the wrong button.
I found the button that Becca pressed last week.
Ben, can you move that to a different drawer, please?
Because when you click on it, I think what should happen, if I click on that, then it'll come up, and then hopefully if I click on that, it doesn't work for me.
I'm so sorry, everyone. This is like carnage. Right. This is Ben.
You can find
come back.
That's fine. I'll just keep pushing captions on. Look, that's easier. We might have to be. Yeah. There you go. Wow. I'll just keep doing that. There you go.
This is special tonight.
But Claire, I think that's a good point. Let's start with the positive ones, and go on, tell us one of yours.
No, start with Peter and Jill, because I've been talking a lot.
Okay. Well, we'll start with me. I got two positives from DLP. One, the first time we stayed at Sequoia Lodge, we wanted a 7 o'clock breakfast. Back then, they gave away the times slots for breakfast. You had a time.
Oh, I've still got some of those cards.
Yes.
You know, they used to, when you checked in at Disneyland Paris,
yeah.
they used to give you a plastic card with a time slot on it. I've still got a whole load of those. Never ever used them. They went in my handbag, and
all right, okay.
Like, you know, I could probably sell them on eBay now.
Yeah. So we wanted a 7 o'clock, but the second day breakfast we couldn't have it. They didn't have a 7 o'clock. They only had an 8 o'clock, and the cast member caught us coming out of the No, what had happened? Yeah. We've been up to the room and we come back out, and he stopped us and said, "I've found you a 7 o'clock for Wednesday morning."
Yeah, brilliant. Just flagged us down.
Just flagged
in
us
the
down.
Middle of the lobby.
Totally remembered us.
Yeah,
and it was
You're
brilliant.
obviously unforgettable.
Obviously,
in that
Nat
King Cole kind of way.
Yeah,
and I think I might be nicking one from Jill here.
Go on then.
There was this guy. We were queuing for Pluto and Goofy together.
Yeah.
Right. And we were the last ones in the queue. And the cast member, every time he came up, he spoke to them in their language. He told them, "I'm sorry, this line is closed," in French, German, Italian,
Spanish. Also. And it was before they had even said a word to him. So we were stood there for about 20 minutes. We were the last in the queue. And we watched him, you know, smiling and talking to all these people. And even before they'd said a word, he would know which language they spoke. And would speak to them and say, "Yeah, I'm sorry, the line is closed."
So we asked him how he did it. And he said, "Well, I listened to them. And also you can tell by the clothing that they wear."
Yeah.
I think if you've been to Disneyland Paris, you can spot the different nationalities.
You can, yeah.
He had been there he'd worked there 22 years
at the time.
Fantastic.
And he took a real pride in his job, and the way he sort of reacted with all the different people from all different nationalities was amazing.
There is one more, if I can be so.
Go on then.
Go on.
Carry on. I wish I'd said I'd go now, but you you crack on, Peter. I'll sit and
one time we went and there was a character cast member strike. And character cast members don't normally strike, and it was for a good reason. And we had to alter something, so we went to City Hall, and those cast members in City Hall were putting up with a lot of rubbish.
Yeah.
A lot of people shouting at them because their kids couldn't get to meet Mickey, and they were just fantastic.
Yeah. I think any of the cast members working in City Hall in guest services, in the same way that I think that the A&E receptionist in any main hospital is probably the best member of staff in the place. Is the worst job ever. Yeah. I kind of think those guest facing, dealing with anything roles. Do you know, any of the cast members are empowered to do something positive. They tend to get all the rubbish, and they do it so well. They do it so eloquently, and they have the ability to do whatever it is they feel they need to do to make the experience better, and they do it so well. So we've certainly had an experience with some cast members in City Hall in Disneyland Paris actually after a not great experience, and they were great. So. Yeah. I'm gonna mention a cast member. I've got a couple of people to mention, but somebody who I'm still in contact with actually, and I think that's one of the things that kind of happened. So when we went to Walt Disney World the last time we went, which was in 2019, so nearly 3 years ago almost, Millie and I had talked about the fact that we'd quite like to take something to give to cast members when they did something exceptional, not anything, not freebies, not massive pixie dust, just somebody who's pleasant, has shared a smile, a fantastic character interaction, something special. So Millie and I actually made up, we bought from the internet some like little muslin bags that you might put like wedding favors in, and we put a little note in there, and we put some UK sweets, so some blackjacks and some fruit salads, and we put a little pot of bubbles in there, like like the little ones you get for weddings and stuff like that, and like just a few little things, little packet of love hearts and stuff, and we made up these little gift bags, and honestly I took probably 100 of them with us. So we sat at home on the floor making up these little bags, and we put them all in a suitcase, and every day when we went to the parks I put a whole bunch of them in my bag, and it was up to Millie to choose which cast members she wanted to give these little bags to. And you know what, whether the cast members or not ate the contents or whether they went in the bin, it didn't matter. But actually there was a few people that we gave them to that were just overwhelmed. So there was when we met Ariel in I'm trying to think, next to Voyage of the Little Mermaid in Magic Kingdom. Ariel was fabulous with Millie. So Millie loves Ariel. I think everyone loves Ariel for different reasons. Amy No Name's Lloyd, you're not here.
I was getting silent.
So Mill sat next to Ariel, and they talked about dingle hoppers and Millie's long hair and all of this stuff. And Millie gave her this little packet, and Ariel was just so over. She was just like, "Oh my goodness, what's in there?" And so she was taking all the bits out, and then she was like, "Oh, there's bubbles!" And she took the bubbles out, and her and Millie were blowing. And I've got these fantastic photos from Memory Maker of Ariel and Millie blowing bubbles together, and the interaction went on and on and on. And it was just so fantastic. So we took these things and we gave them to custodians. We gave them to we gave one to somebody so on our last day we went to Wilderness Lodge before we went to the airport, and Millie had her purse where she had accrued, all the shrapnel, all the quarters, all the dimes, nickel, just a whole load of coins in this purse that was absolutely no use to man nor beast because we weren't going to use them, and they were probably going to come home, and then we were going to take them back with us next time we went. And she wanted to buy something in the shop in Wilderness Lodge, so she went in, and I can't even remember what it might be, a pin or something, and she literally took this purse and almost just like emptied all the coins onto the desk. And the cast member behind the cash register was brilliant. He just went, "That's fine." He took what he wanted, and then he went, "Right." And then he took all the coins and sorted them out and swapped them for dollars for her for notes.
Wow.
And so she brought home notes, which is it's so much better for her. But he spent the time to count it all out. So Millie gave him one of our last remaining little gift bags. It was so cute. And then we had some really good, and I would definitely do that again, whether or not as I say, whether or not the cast member kept the things in there or not, I don't know. We had a similar experience with Voices of Liberty. So Lindsay, who's one of the girls who sings in Voices of Liberty, Millie just couldn't take her eyes off her. And actually, there's some photos around on my Instagram feed and stuff with when they were singing. We were sat in the rotunda, and Millie just loved her dress, and she was like watching her. So afterwards, they did their little walkabout, and you could meet them. And I got a photo of them together, and Millie gave her one of the bags, and she actually had tears in her eyes. And we're still in contact, so we still message each other on internet, on Instagram. She's had a baby last year, and it's just been fantastic. The level of interaction that you get when you do something positive, and I think that a lot of guests go to Disney expecting their experience to be the positive one. It's all about, what am I going to get out of this? What am I going to take away from it? And actually, my firm feeling is if you give something positive, you'll get something back. So whether that's a thank you, a smile, we've seen an awful lot of behaviour towards cast members, like you were saying, Peter, people being grumpy because of strikes. COVID has created some very negative feelings. So actually, I think certainly my approach is always to be the overwhelming positive person, to say thank you, to hold the door open, to ask how their day's going, and have a chat. Those things actually, you then get a different experience. I don't know, maybe it's just me being a bit weird. I don't like talking to people I don't know, but cast members are slightly different. I feel like I know them.
Do you know something, Claire? That's such a lovely way of describing something that you're just something that seems such a simple thing to put together, and then to go take on holiday, and then to actually be able to share that, and you could imagine some cast members getting back home at the end of the day. They talk about their day, and it make you stand out from the crowd. That is absolutely wonderful.
And whether they went back down to their break room and went, "Oh, I got this pile of
doesn't matter
from some loony English girl," or whether they went, "Do you know what? This cute little kid gave me this. I'm not going to eat what's in it, but wasn't that nice?" You know,
But just what you've managed to do is flip the whole expectation coming from our point of view as visitors to the fact that there's cast members that have actually got a reason to actually, to remember you guys in the parks as well. I think that's lovely. It really is. Now, while I'm going to press this button again. I'm determined to be.
I'm so sorry, everyone.
No. Just give us a second. This must time out after a bit because actually, I want to.
Think it does.
Yeah.
While we're doing that, can we say hello to Kelly and
Kelly's joined us? I know.
Kelly,
and Portwood Travel.
Hi.
Hey, there you go. Look at them talking as well. Whilst I've been busy having a tech nightmare.
Yeah.
Kelly
was saying about the time, confused with the time difference. Here in the UK, our clocks go forward next Sunday. And just to make matters worse, Sunday is Mother's Day here in the UK. So all those mums who should be being treated and made to feel special on Sunday, they lose an hour in bed.
No, we don't. Just stay in bed an hour longer.
I think I'm not even going there. That's
Ben's
just
giving you virtual advice. I think the other person that we stayed connected with, partly because of the little gift bag and partly because of the experience we had, is a lovely lady called Brittany, who was Millie's fairy godmother in training when she went to went to Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. Now, Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, it's very hard to say quickly, is not something that we had ever really gone, yes, we're definitely going to go to that. But actually, on our last trip, we all did something different. So Morgan had a surfing lesson at Typhoon Lagoon, which was amazing. And Mills went to the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, and we chose to use the new one at the Grand Floridian.
Yep.
She had no idea we were going. So we went for brunch, and then we went there. And the girl who was assigned to her was just adorable. She was fantastic with Millie, and I was there, and I was like typical mum watching and waiting, and Millie just lapped it up, and we've stayed really close to her. So we message each other every week. She asks how Millie's doing, and she always talks about Princess Millie and when she's coming to visit and everything. And since obviously Bibbidi Bobbidi boutiques have been closed, she's actually been quite a lucky cast member. She was reassigned into Galaxy's Edge straight away. Wow. So she works over there now. So I'm hoping that when I get there in 50 days today, just saying, I'm going to be able to see her and say hello and just catch up for 10 minutes maybe.
That's lovely.
But yeah, so I sometimes you do meet someone and they, your brain remembers them and for lots of reasons, good and bad.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing as well. I don't know, when I've said about doing this show, and I've got, again, just sort of so many amazing different experiences that have happened, and they kind of happened in a way by accident, and going through, even already in the course of the chat tonight, I've been sort of reminded of another one, and when you're thinking, this is where that whole sort of, this is perhaps why we all keep going back, isn't it? And
I think it is far more than the attractions.
Yeah, it's people, and it's real people. I'm gonna share this photo because this was something that was so special.
Yay.
And that was our Josh's, I think it was 13 or something, but we did 4 parks in one day, and we did Meet Nemo, and it was just the most amazing experience. And there you go, it's actually his 12th birthday.
Well, yeah.
So, and if you thought they looked young and cute there, we also had this experience with our Joe.
With Andy Manny.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which because he'd taken the effort, and I don't think many people had seen this sort of happening, and he dressed up, and it was just time and a place. It was just amazing, and the actual response from everybody that day was amazing. But enough of embarrassing Joe. But also the other one as well is we do try to get different things autographed, because I got fed up with the traditional autograph book and things like that. So we've done hats, we've done T-shirts, we've done many different things. And then I came across we'd ended up doing picture frames. So we did like the outline of a picture frame. So we got pictures all signed and stuff like that. And then we did something else, which was the large vinylmations that you used to be able to buy.
Yeah.
And they became, she was just such good fun, because she was so scared of spoiling it by signing it correctly. And she became sort of, as she's doing it, I don't want to do this wrong. I don't want to do this. I need her out of the way. And that became, a little bit like yourself, Claire, it becomes a focal point for the cast member, and they make that connection, and then you start having a chat, and then they suddenly decide that you're a little bit bonkers because you're wanting this sort of plastic vinylmation signed by me, and it's just like, yes, please. And it kind of takes a life of its own, doesn't it? And I think as well, cast members can rescue a really bad experience. And I probably said this on one of the very early podcasts, talking about Tower of Terror, and we had. You're
right, Peter. You having a moment?
He's choking. Yeah. Just slap him, Jill. Slap him.
Not again.
Oh, I thought you meant go.
Moving on.
Don't tempt her.
Moving on.
Yeah, we had quite a boisterous crowd in on Tower of Terror, and it actually, the cast member kind of knew that something wasn't quite right when the doors shut for the first time. There was one guy who was being an absolute pain, and the kids were a bit younger, and so we came off and thought, we didn't even get the ride photo because the said person decided that for the ride photo they would give that one finger salute that really rankles the edit button.
Not very Disney.
No, it wasn't very Disney. No. So we went round again, and we thought, no, we'll go on again. We'll have proper ride it properly. So we went back round. We got the same cast member at the gate of the lift. We were the first 4 to board, and he just said, just go in the front row. Which is unusual because they usually board
back
first.
Yeah.
Orders in the front, and then he shut the door, and it was the 4 of us.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing!
And he just understood completely, because like I say, the kids were younger.
Yeah.
And he just understood that they'd been forced into listening to things that they perhaps shouldn't have been. Little did they know they go to the football and things like that. But I'm not complaining. But yeah, just recognised us again, and it's that recognition bit, Peter, isn't it? It's like you said, and it was so special because I've just got this stupid picture. We didn't know what to do, and being a family that sort of like to make ride photos sort of special. We were sat and we think, well, what do you do when you've got an empty Tower of Terror cage and you're in the lift? There's nobody else around. What can you do? And it's a horrible picture because I decided I would just pretend I'd been murdered. And the kids and I were like, and it was just trying to keep in with the theme. And when you're thinking, you're looking back and you're thinking, I don't know if I like that picture or not, but it's funny, and it was just a time and a place. But I really take my hat off to the guy, because actually he understood. He read the situation. He understood what he'd been through, and then just went from there. And that to me seems to be kind of a dying breed. And I think, long-standing cast members who obviously, given the lockdown period and given the fact that a lot of them were laid off, they're the type of people who've maybe moved on or been moved on. And I think that being moved on is quite an important one, because a lot of these people have been here a long time, were unionized, and actually that's not what Disney wants either, is it? In their big grand scheme to make lots of money. But hey, I'll leave that to one side. But what you did find is those people who they got what the whole Disney experience was.
Yeah.
And they pushed it across onto every guest. It wasn't an act. It was just there, and they were just having fun at work. Yeah, they were the best ones. And similarly, when you got to like really good photo pass photographers,
yeah,
and they stood out like a sore thumb. They purely were fantastic at taking photographs and actually making photographs happen. And I think from one of our last trips, if Neil's still in the chat on YouTube, we actually, she appeared to be a manager either of the parade or of the PhotoPass photographers, and she came across, snatched the camera off one of the other photographers, and got all of us together as the parade's coming right towards us. You could see a couple of parade marshals getting a bit twitchy, and she's like, "No, stop there, get that!" And she looked for this picture, and it was absolutely perfectly timed.
Fantastic.
And I just thought that takes such skill. And having, I love taking my photographs. I love that whole part of the holiday. But when you get somebody who can take a decent picture and make that little moment a complete memory of a trip, that's when it goes that little bit further, isn't it? And I think that is so special.
I think you're right. I think actually some of the you mentioned about parade there, and I know a lot of the time the focus when you're waiting for a parade is the anticipation of what's coming, and then when the parade's there, the focus is on the cast members in the parade. We've had some really fun times with the cast members who are marshalling, who are prepping. It's just come back to me. I remember standing in Disneyland Paris, and Dan will remember this because we were by It's a Small World, which is one of our favourite places in Disneyland Paris to watch the parade because that's where it comes out of or goes into. So it's quite an open area. You get a good vantage point of the parade from lots of angles. And it must have been the Dream Come True parade. So the music was incredible, and we were waiting, and that prepping time where the parade is coming towards you, but it's not quite there, but the music's playing, so you get the full track before there's anybody in view. And this cast member, he was unbelievable. He stood in the middle of that parade route and he danced and he danced and he danced. He did a full routine, whether that was the parade routine or not. I think it was probably his audition routine for ballet school when he was 11. I don't know what it was, but he was incredible, and he had us in stitches because he was so flamboyant and so absolutely just straight in. He didn't care. He was having a great time. He was getting adoration from the crowd. He was better than the parade. He was just I remember that must easily have been 15 20 years ago that I'm remembering that, and I can picture him now dancing and twirling and pirouetting around that bit of the parade route. He was so great. But I think we in Walt Disney World, we tend to try and catch the parade. Chris, I can't wait to see you do that when we watch parade together, Chris. I'm going to wait for that to happen.
The other side to that, though, Claire, is you get some people who get a little bit ahead of themselves waiting for the parade, and they decide that they're going to stand or sit or just be a pain to any cast member who's actually trying to walk.
Oh yeah, completely.
Right? So they get the opposite bit from the same person.
Oh, totally.
So whereas you're getting a real load of fun coming your way from the next person along, it's like
they're getting move
off the road. No,
move.
You're moving, and when there's no getting around it, and there's no negotiation.
And every now and again, you get a side eye from them, and that's very funny. But we try to watch in the Magic Kingdom. We try and watch parade from outside Hall of Presidents for lots of reasons, because actually that bit's not roped off, and then it is at the last minute, so you get a bit more space. You get the air conditioning behind you.
Don't tell everyone.
Shh, don't. Secret
noted.
But that's quite a good place because you get it's a turning point for the parade before it goes over out of Liberty Square into the hub. So you do get a bit of a amalgamation of cast members there. You usually get somebody senior there at one point, and they do many activities. They're having fun, and there's lots of getting the crowd into the mood, and that for me, it's so much fun. They're not in the parade, but they know the dance, they know the song. They have you practicing it with them as you're waiting. I love all that, because actually then it's not the fur characters who are stood there waving. These are just cast members who are doing their job. They happen to be on parade marshalling duty that day. They love it as much as we do, I think.
Jill, do you have any?
Yeah, loads. And I mean, to tie in with that, I would say I always try and smile and wave and so on at dancers in the parade, because everybody goes mad for the characters. The poor dancers.
Yay, John! Yay!
Yeah. The poor dancers.
That's the wrong one, Peter.
Working
one, but this is the
a different one.
It's the easy one.
Whatever.
It's the easy one.
I know you say. I think you're right, Jill, in terms of the fact that they're the ones. I know everyone's a bit sweaty in the parade, but they're working so hard, aren't they?
Yeah. So I do always try and smile and wave at the dancers, particularly. But yeah, at Disneyland Paris the other week, I had tried to make a reservation for Plaza Gardens for about 6 o'clock, so that we would have a nice meal and a good place to go out and see the fireworks show afterwards. And for whatever reason, the app was playing up and computer says no. So it didn't work. So basically, I went to City Hall and asked if there was anything, first of all, could you check whether it did actually go through, which it didn't. And the cast member, a lovely lady called Elodie, she tried so hard to get us in. And Plaza Gardens is not easy to get in, particularly not at the moment. It's very popular. And she said, I can get you in for 4:15, which, okay, a bit early, but, fine. And yeah, she was just so lovely about it and so willing to help. So we ended up tweeting a cast compliment to her.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think that's a tip, isn't it? If you want to say thank you, you can do a cast compliment. I've done them a few times, both in person in City Hall and also by tweeting, which is the quicker way usually.
Isn't it nice though? You've got that immediacy where you can actually thank you and share your attitude. Yeah, I think previously it was such a long and drawn out process, and I must admit, I think that whole tweeting is absolutely just
John, now you're on Twitter.
Yes, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now John's on Twitter. That'll be it. It'll be all day, every day.
Compliments all day. Yes.
You weren't on Twitter last time you were there.
No. Well, hey, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And the other one I was thinking, there were so many I could think of, but Ben's already mentioned him. But Tim at Steakhouse 71, or when we were there, it was at the Wave. And he was just such a lovely guy. He welcomed us. The restaurant was quite quiet. We were there for lunch, and it was quite a late lunch. And we were definitely the last ones in the restaurant.
We were, yes.
At that lunchtime. So they must have been thinking, hurry up and eat and get out. But he was just so welcoming. We'd said that we were going to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas party that night, and he was, I love Christmas. Christmas is so great. And he was just so enthusiastic and warm and welcoming and funny. And definitely make a point of trying to see him again next time.
I think we should also mention cast members on the ships. Now, I know that only me, Ben, Becca, and Jill have done ships.
Yeah.
Yep. They're a different breed. They're as good, they're great, but they are on like most of the time, day and night.
Yeah.
And they are fabulous cast members. And when we went last time, there was this guy who was a platinum member, a platinum Castaway Club member. So he'd been with them for a while.
A guest.
Yeah. And he was giving the cast members at the desk some real pain. He was being really awful. And they just dealt with him beautifully.
Yeah.
The cast members on the ship have a different
level.
A different level.
Yeah.
They can't run away from them.
No, they can't.
You can't like it.
Thinking about the cruise, actually, on our first cruise, one of the crew was a lovely lady called Tisa. And she was in charge of like the entertainments and so on
for the grown-ups,
for the adults, and she was hilarious. She was like a sort of Whoopi Goldberg, wisecracking, wonderful person. And she looked after the karaoke one night, and I got up and I was doing all that jazz, and silently cursing myself because I'd forgotten quite how long that song is. And the screen stuck. So I basically had to
wing it.
Yeah, wing it and basically ad-lib my way out to the end of the song. And then after that, they spent 20 minutes trying to fix this thing before the next people could perform.
You should have kept going, Jill.
She did. This is the thing. Tisa spent 20 minutes basically doing a stand-up comedy routine and
fantastic.
Frantically filling, and she was amazing.
Yeah,
she's so funny.
Now you're talking stand-up comedy routines. That's taken me straight to the Jungle Cruise, where you're queuing to unload. When you're in, while you're waiting to the offload platform because there's people on it. And those Jungle Cruise skippers, when they start doing their own stand-up routines, they've got their own jokes that they're going to bring. And it's not the best bit of the attraction, but it's often a really good bit because some of their jokes are great and some of them are awful and they bomb completely. And you can almost see them going, right, I'm not going to use that one next time. That didn't land quite as I expected. And it's probably only 1 in 4 boats that actually they get the opportunity to do that. So they're almost like testing out their material. And I think it is so much fun because it is always different. But yeah, so when off piste is often
it's amazing. It's amazing. That let me say comments in the chat. I know I can't put them up on the screen. I do apologize for that. It's a tech thing from my end. I think the joys of having a slightly aging MacBook, but it's another one. I'm ignoring that. That's rude. I'm going to say. I'm going to say.
I actually thought that's what you were going to say. I didn't realize you were going to say that.
Yeah, I was going to say thank you to Carrie. Actually said the cast members 2005, 8, and 9 were amazing and disappointed on their trips in 2013 and 15. I think that's to me has been a recurring thing for us. Is the further down the line we've got, I think the training hasn't been quite as up to standard as it previously was, and I think that could be a whole new show of its own. Ben, I totally agree with your comment about Fantasmic. There is nothing better than watching that crew trying to whip the crowd up before Fantasmic. They do the most incredible job. Claire, you won't have seen Fantasmic and you won't have experienced them. I just dawned on me.
I haven't seen it. So I don't know.
It just dawned on me. But they just do. They do the most incredible job. And it must be a tough gig because everyone's coming and entering the
end of the day. They're tired. Yeah. Kids are tired.
I'm in the queue to go and get nachos and a beer, and so you've got people sort of sitting down, dumping the family, going and getting goodies to see us through the next hour or so like that. Then trying to find which seat they actually sat in the first place, and so trying to navigate that whole which block were we really in. And then getting the cast member at the top saying, no, all the way down to the end of the line. You can't say, no, my family down there, they're down there. Yeah, I've heard that one before. And then you end up with one of the kids standing up on the bench going, I'm here. As you get one of them little cardboard trays carrying all the drinks, it's just like, you just wait for an accident to happen as you just...
Like at the rugby when you've got the trying to carry 6 drinks at the same time.
It's not a pleasant experience and you're just waiting for some... Yeah, it's part of the entertainment. But those cast members down the front do an amazing job and they whip it up so much. It is absolutely super. It's a wonderful one to see. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Ben mentioned the cast members on the Magic were superb.
And Wendy mentioned that she's got the same secret spot, so it's all clearly not very secret.
No,
it has to be it's us for the parade in Magic.
Yeah,
I like that spot.
Can I give a shout out to the CMs who serve in the shops because they must have one of the toughest jobs, and just
they've got air conditioning.
Well, yes, but to keep dealing with some of the customers.
Yeah,
I tell you what, Jill, the ones that work in the Christmas shop. In Magic Kingdom, imagine that 365 days a year.
I know.
Christmas music, day after day after day. I would drive me crackers that.
Where's our friend Doombuggy? She should be here.
Yes.
But we were at the Contemporary last time, and we got a special pin that was released a day early for, or actually we got one a day early and got it signed by Jeff the Chef. And this was a particular limited edition pin for the contemporary Christmas wall gingerbread decoration.
Oh, that's nice.
And I queued up to go and buy one, and this obnoxious little kid in front of me, who was obviously a pin collector, but he was treating the poor CM behind the till as if she was his personal servant. And, no, I don't want that one. It's not good enough. No, that one's not good enough. No, I want this one. Blah, 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 blah. And then he was bragging about how much he was going to put this on eBay and how much he was going to sell it for and so on to his friend. I just been such a little brat. And I was next to him in the I just thought, thank you ever so much. This is lovely. And we really appreciate the chance to get this. And being extra nice to her.
Yeah, you compensate, don't you?
Yeah.
That's definitely the mode, and Dan, this is the mode I go into. I become extremely British, over polite, say please and thank you very loudly, especially if someone next to me hasn't. Hold the doors open, I do that anyway, but I do it very, I would say I probably more, I make a thing of doing it, especially if there's someone next to me who's being rude. But, I guess that cast members recognise different things. I wanted to just say about an experience we had, which was probably not the usual Disney experience. It did happen in Disneyland Paris, and it happened at the restaurant that's currently Captain Jack's. So the used to be called the Blue Lagoon.
Blue Lagoon,
inside, and it's the restaurant that sits. The restaurant itself sits inside Pirates of the Caribbean. So it's a beautiful restaurant. The atmosphere is incredible. I think we're probably going to mention it during our Disneyland Paris month, which is happening through April. This was the previous iteration, so a different menu, but the food doesn't really make a difference. It was the cast member who was serving us that was the issue. And usually I'm fairly laid back, but on this particular day, there was a group, I think there was 6 of us at the table. There was the 4 of us or it might be, I think there might be 5 or 6 of us. And we'd ordered and my food came and it was either wrong or he hadn't heard what I'd ordered. And it was, Anyway, I said, no, I'm really sorry. I think it was cold as well, Peter and Jill. It was cold.
Yep.
And I said, I'm really sorry. This isn't what I ordered and it's cold. And he took it away and he came back with a different plate. And I say, I'm usually pretty laid back, but he banged it on the table. When someone's really cross and the plate goes on the table in front of you.
Yeah.
Not a word was said.
No.
That was my reaction. I was like, what? And then the rest of the food came out in the same way. So regardless of what had happened, every single plate went bang, bang, bang on the table. And it went from bad to weird. And it's like, he threw it at me. He pretty much did throw it at me. And do you know what? I was really shocked. I was upset afterwards because I had never experienced something so openly rude and un-Disney. I was just like, what was this? It was just ridiculous. And I was so angry. I said, right, that's it. I'm going to City Hall. So we went down to City Hall and I went in and said, look, I'm sorry, but I do want to complain. I had his name. And I can't remember it now, but it doesn't matter. But I was just like, I just need to tell you about this appalling experience I've just had over lunch. And he did really upset me because I was so shocked, I think, at that experience. It took me into the little room at the side. When they don't really want anyone else to hear what you're going to say. So they take you through to the little room and they went through the whole thing with me. And I explained what had happened and they were great. They were very sympathetic. I think we got some fast passes or something, but it wasn't about trying to get anything out of it. It was about the fact that actually, do you know what? You need this feedback because this is not upholding company values. This is not what was meant to happen. This should not have been my experience in any restaurant that we're paying for the food. And I was upset and I was really shocked. But the cast member in City Hall, which is where we come back to at the beginning of the show, Peter, that actually the cast member was so well trained and so good at dealing with that. They could tell I was upset. They could tell I was really angry, and they allowed me time, first of all, before they said, come through here, sit down for a little. And they gave a bit of time, water, drink, before going, right, now tell me what happened. So I just think that I felt better having complained. That was all I needed to do. I didn't need anything from it. We didn't get any meal vouchers or anything like that. It wasn't trying to get something for nothing.
No, it's not. No.
Whether he received a reprimand or not, I don't know. But I don't need to know that. But I just think it can make or break your trip.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't, because you can do something about it. Had we been in America and language potentially not being so much of an issue, I might have spoken to the supervisor in the restaurant, but I was so shocked at the time. I didn't think my extremely basic French was going to help me in that situation. So it was easier to be able to go and deal with that in City Hall. And they were brilliant. So it's not always the best experience, but as long as it's dealt with in the right way afterwards, I think is the key, and it absolutely was. So
I work for, and I do a lot of customer-facing work. And in the UK, I work for a company called John Lewis, and that has a good reputation for being customer-focused and kind of like, but not on the same scale as cast members do. And I get people who are awful with me, but I'm never awful with them. So when I see awful service, and we had some awful service last time we were at Disneyland Paris. No, not last time, time before.
Yeah.
I just get so upset because it doesn't need to be like this.
And mostly
it's
it
your
isn't.
job.
I have to say, mostly it isn't, but that's why these things stick out so much.
Yeah. Can I guide everyone? I know we can't put it in the chat, but Kelly's guiding us through nicely there. This whole thing, trained in last, which is listen, apologize, solve, and thank.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it is part of that Disney sort of whole embodiment of how they've been trained for years and years of how you deal with things like that. It is so crucial, and it's it kind of backfired on them in some ways, because I think they went over the top on trying to put things right, and like you say, Claire, people quickly captured onto the fact that I complain, they're going to give me loads of fast passes.
This is it.
And you don't want them to complain.
No.
You want to complain because there has been a bad experience happen, or there's been something that one of the ones that I've got, and we're of a time that it's after 9 in the UK, and I will share it, was in Epcot, with the meet and greet where you've got Mickey, Minnie, Goofy.
Oh, in what was. And
I
can't remember what it was called.
Yeah, but they actually adapted it in the past, probably about 10 years, but they adapted it. So it then became a multi-door experience to try and get the queue through a little bit quicker, rather than just having one lot of cast members there. There was, strange enough, there was multi-cast members. Don't keep it to yourself. It's a little bit of a secret. But we had a day where somebody had left the door open. So there's me looking straight in at one line of Mickey, Goofy, and all of this.
Oh, no.
And very quickly, the other door opened, and there's the other one, and I'm like, this is completely wrong. This is something that went beyond what I felt. I didn't feel comfortable with it, but nobody there seemed to want to do anything. I shut the door that had been open the longest, just basically because I wanted that magic to be kept. I couldn't keep it to myself. I had to go to guest relations.
Yeah.
I didn't want anything from the experience. I just wanted something to be done. Yeah. I hate it. Even in Magic Kingdom, when there's a cast member, there's a character on the parade, and at that particular point, they're still doing a meet and greet. They used to be really, really hot on it, and that's
absolutely timings. But
drifted over the years, where it's just that character on the parade doesn't matter. We can still keep doing meet and greets. When you've got young children, that's a very difficult explanation. How come Mickey's on the parade but he's still in town hall? And I don't know. I think they used to be exceptionally good at it. it's become one of those things that they've become lax just purely because of the lines of people who are waiting to do meet and greet. And you're not going to shut down a line for 15 to 20 minutes for the duration of a parade. I'm big enough.
That's exactly what used to happen, though, wasn't it? During the parade, there were the meet and greet stopped.
Yeah. And I just, that one occasion for me, it just stood out. And the person that I spoke to at guest relations was superb. And I said to her, and she said, "Oh no, we'll get you fast pass." I said, I don't want anything. All I want to do is just have that whole magic that I know that I've enjoyed and my kids have enjoyed as they've grown up. I want that to be retained for other people. And this was just a really bad example of show. And I just thought it just needed something saying. And I felt, you feel awful because you think somebody's going to get into trouble for it. But the thing was, it was horrible. It just didn't work for me. And that's the bit we're not encouraging people to complain. I would hate people to go to any theme park, even in the UK, and just find a nitpicking reason to go and complain. You're there to enjoy yourself. You're not there.
But that was constructive. That was
and I think that's the thing, though. You mentioned show, and that's obviously one of the keys. And I think, certainly my knowledge base comes from the fact that I'm really sad, and I really enjoy reading about customer service in Disney. So the Lee Cockerell's suite of books, I've read them all. Even though I don't work in I work in a patient-facing environment in healthcare, I don't work in a customer-facing environment. But actually, there are so many rules about and ideas around customer service that can be translated into different industries. But I do lots of reading of that stuff and the customer rules and actually, so when you know how it should happen, and Lee's held previous positions across Walt Disney World and Disneyland Paris. So when you know what is embedded in the training, you know what should happen, how cast members are encouraged to be independent, empowered, and guest experience is the most important thing. When you then come across something that doesn't fit that model, it's so obvious and stark and quite jarring to the experience that you're used to having. So I think that I hope that when I said something about that person's behaviour during our meal, it was coming from a point of I was an informed guest rather than just just rude. He wasn't just rude. He was rude and not upholding your company values because So I think that there are a few situations where that happens, but I don't think people should be worried to say something if they've had a bad experience at all.
No,
I know
absolutely.
we tend to be a little bit British about it and try, everything's fine. Yes, everything's fine. If it's not, it's not. So,
Anna, can I just pick up on your comment there about Plaza Gardens? If you listen to our 1st of April podcast when it comes out, you will get lots of ideas for other restaurants to try next time you go to Disneyland Paris.
Absolutely.
Because there are some amazing places to try. So nothing wrong with Plaza Gardens. We went there last time. We loved it. It's great.
I like Plaza Gardens.
It's great. Mickey-shaped carrots, guys.
Who knew?
We had
Where do they grow them?
Yes. But there are other places, and so do listen out for our podcast, and you'll find some ideas.
1st of April. Goodness, do you know that was
next week?
Yeah. But it's just going to come around so quickly. So first,
something else happening on the 1st of April, isn't there?
There is. We're getting a lock-in. It's a lock-in in the UK.
A little segue there.
Lock-in.
There we are.
We're having another one of these.
Having a late night lock-in at the Wafflers Arms. And this time we are talking about Ted Lasso. So if you haven't watched Ted Lasso, you've got a week and a bit to go with seasons. They're on TV. Can
I just give it anyone in the UK, if you are a Sky subscriber at the moment and you're on Sky VIP, you can actually pick up Apple TV for free for the next 3 months through your Sky Plus account. Just saying.
Just saying. It's worth it just to watch.
Only for Ted Lasso. I've not even gone anywhere beyond.
There is some other good stuff on there, but as Ben said, football is life.
Is just incredible.
I can't wait to talk about it next week.
No, I can't.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's just it is going to be one of those shows that, yes, we are later in the UK, so yes, we might just be a little bit Ted Lasso language-esque.
Roy Kent language.
Yeah, we might be. I don't think
stray that way, but not maybe
not. We're polite, aren't we? But
definitely.
I just feel that it's a great opportunity for us to talk about something completely different.
Yeah,
and also to just, I think, pay a little bit of respect to some fantastic TV script writing, and it's so few and far between at the minute, and this is
truly original as well.
This is just, and it's classic TV already. It's amazing.
So if you haven't watched it and you want to join us, you can come and listen and then go and watch it afterwards because you'll want to.
Kelly's singing.
Kelly's singing the song. Kelly's always singing the song. We don't need to mention Roy Kent and Kelly singing the song.
Talking of Kelly, she asked us a question.
Oh, go on then.
A little bit further down.
About
service.
About service.
What did you ask, Kelly? Did you say?
Oh, there you go. That's
service.
The best service. Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Paris. Oh, that's Disneyland Paris or Disneyland. That's
different. It's different.
It's very.
You get much more European style service. It's still friendly. It's still nice at DLP, but they're not as in your face.
Yeah.
So, Kelly, I'll go through it with you at some point. There are some very clear etiquette differences in Europe than they are in America. From
you're being polite, Claire.
No, I don't want to. It's just some basic things like clear, very brisk in Paris. Yes, I think that's the polite way of saying it, Chris. It's not intrusive into your meal experience particularly. And there are things like plate clearing which are different. So in America, when you finished your food on your plate, they'll take the plate away straight away. In the UK and in Europe, that's considered to be rude. You wait till everyone around the table has finished and then you clear all the plates away. So there are some differences that might be misunderstood, which might add to people's experience. That's all I'm going to say. But Kelly, when we're together in 52 days, I will tell you all about the differences.
Also, I would say that the expectation in Disneyland Paris is more that you don't necessarily want people coming up to you, strangers coming up to you and bothering you. So the expectation is you want to be left alone unless you approach CMs. If you want to interact with CMs, go up to them, say bonjour. You don't need any more French than bonjour and merci.
Yeah.
And au revoir. And,
but it's
but once
guest initiated usually.
Once you start talking to them, they blossom. They absolutely loved it.
It's guest initiated interaction rather than the other way around.
Be my new BFF and come round for dinner.
I think there are some really great cast members in Disneyland Paris. There's somebody I just wanted to mention who's Raphael Pichinot. He's got a really great Instagram if people want to follow him. He's a long-standing cast member at Disneyland Paris in the guest experience team. He is always out on Main Street at the parade time, and he's got one of our Great British Mickey Waffle badges. We caught up with him when I was there, and he is so much fun and he's so interactive. And during lockdowns when the park was closed, he was doing videos on his Instagram every day of like little his 30-second, a bit like Olaf, his 30-second creation of a movie. And he's just such a great ambassador for the company, and I think that he's a lot of fun. So if you've I look for in a few weeks' time hopefully catching up with him a little bit. He's a great guy. So I think there are some cast members, the ambassadors for all the parks are great as well. They've got amazing social media and you find out all sorts from them. So
Chris, you're thinking about Paris itself, not Disneyland Paris.
I think it's a little bit in that.
Disneyland Paris is a little bit like that too.
Even in
not my experience at all.
In the French pavilion, if you're actually in Epcot, if you're dealing with an actual French cast member, obviously there was the exchange program there. If you actually made that little attempt to speak French, you got a lot back. There was just that.
Yeah.
You've crossed that little hurdle. I'm prepared to sort of drop my guard now and so on. And there is. I think that's that, but I think that's very much a French thing, and that's not meant as an insult.
That's very much a Parisian thing, and as I said, it really hasn't been my experience at Disneyland Paris. Everyone will speak to you quite happily in English at Disneyland Paris.
Okay.
Oh no, they will speak to you, but you have to initiate it.
No, it's to begin in French. You don't need to begin in French.
But bonjour is polite, I would say.
Yeah, can I just pick up with something Anna's put in the Facebook chat? She's looking for Walt Disney World places to eat. Anna, check out our website. Go and have a look at our YouTube channel. We tend to talk about food rather a lot.
We do.
Yeah.
And
every show we talk
go
about
back
food.
and have a listen. Some of our podcasts have been all about food. We've talked about different places to eat around Walt Disney World, on site and off site as well. So have a look at that. If you're struggling to find it, send us a message.
Drop a DM.
Send us one, and we'll try and point you in the right direction as that. Wendy, I've just read her message, and she said the only time that she ever had contact care services during a stay was at Pop, where a mousekeeper left the door slightly open. Ooh. That's your worst nightmare, isn't it? And thankfully, she said that nothing was taken, but did let somebody know what had happened. That's and that's the extent. And any hotel, it could happen. I fully understand that, but it's like your worst nightmare when you're out in the parks and when you're trying to sort of put things into perspective. So you've got that to have to worry about as well. Did I worry the fact? Did I actually lock the door? Never mind. You got to remember a mousekeeping doing it as well. Yeah. But that's quite a daft one as well. That's
cool.
Eye opener. So I'm going to take that caption off. I'm going to try.
You're going to try and share the comments again, John?
No, I'm not even going there. I really apologise.
Do you know what? I gave you a bit of grief, Eddie. You've done really well because you've engaged and chatted, and you're still trying to fiddle with the buttons. So
I'm just no. It's my computer, and I'm it's one of them. Can I also just remind people, if you've missed it, last week we had our mid-month Shares of Waffle with Gaz and Ange. It's still out there. If you've downloaded it, or if your phone or mobile device of choice has downloaded it and you haven't listened, give it a good listen. These guys are really good fun.
Really good.
That was a really enjoyable show. We have got.
Next week there is a Wednesday show next week. Yeah, it's really important to say there is no Wafflers Wednesday next week because we've got the Ted Lasso show Friday.
Ted Lasso Friday.
Otherwise, it's a bit of overload of us. But the Friday we do have two shows. So we've got the new podcast, which we already have. I'm going to be honest, I don't think anyone's surprised. We recorded it just a couple of days ago, and if you want a giggle, just listen to the first 10 minutes because my goodness. Don't start. I know. I'm laughing just thinking about it. It's a good one, people. Yeah. It's a good one.
Good fun.
So, and then Ted Lasso in the evening. So
that's what's up and coming. Can I just also just point out we're all over the place on these things. We've still got t-shirts on TeePublic and Redbubble. We'll go to our website first if you fancy getting a waffle on t-shirt. I know I've got one, but I keep coming back to this. If you get a t-shirt, you get a picture in any of the parks. I know I took a picture on the London Eye. We want to see them, share them in the Wafflers Arms. It's always good fun. Big shout out as well to Portwood Travel, who joined us in the chat as well tonight. And again, drop them a text if you fancy a little trip here, there, and everywhere. They've been to Aspen last week to go and check out the skiing.
Lucky them.
I know. I quite fancied that myself though, and I'm sure Neil and Karen had sorted us out with a maybe if we get them onto the F1 stuff as well, we get a trip to races.
Anna's asking where to find the podcast. Anna, they are on your podcast provider of choice, so whether that be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, wherever. If you go to our website, there is a link on there. You can just listen straight on the website if you want. You don't even have to go to a website podcast provider. They're all in there in chronological order, and they're all on YouTube as well. So really simple. And Ben is prompting us from afar. Shall we share our April plans? Yes, Ben. Let let's share our April plan. So the
I thought it was a secret. I thought it was top secret. We're going to keep it a secret till April. Goodness.
Well, we've already said that we're doing Disneyland Paris. So
yeah, so our focus for April is Disneyland Paris because it's the 30th anniversary of Disneyland Paris on the 12th of April. Peter and Jill were there last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah.
Ben and Becca sneaking over in a couple of weeks, and then I'm going with my family on the 18th. So we're all, other than John. Sorry, John, you're here.
I'm doing the tech. The irony's not lost on me at all.
Really so John fiddling with the tech while Ben fights with the Disneyland Paris Wi-Fi. This is going to go really, really well.
Yeah.
Our Wednesday shows from the week after the 1st. So what's that? It'll be the 5th of April, so maybe 6th of April, something like that. Will be those Wednesday shows through April will all be about Disneyland Paris. That's not to say we won't be talking about other stuff as well, but the focus through April is going to just come a little bit on the European end for a change.
Yeah.
So thank you, Ben. 6th of April. You helped my maths.
If you really need any help with Disneyland Paris, or you just want to ask a question, pop it in the Wafflers' arms.
Yeah,
we're
happy to answer anything. So
Yeah.
Even if stateside and you're thinking of coming and you don't know where to start, we will help you.
And I must admit that 1st of April podcast that we recorded actually sets that up really nicely. So if you stay with us throughout April, you listen to the podcast first. I had questions in the podcast that I wasn't sure about going to Disneyland Paris. So there we go.
Thank you, Kelly. That's so funny. That's made me giggle so much.
Random use, yes.
Yes. There we
Colour, honour.
Transition. Well done, Kelly.
Yeah. Kerry, thank you so much. Appreciate that. I appreciate your comment there. That's it's
fantastic.
Very kind of you.
And we've gone long.
We've got such a lovely audience.
Quite long, yes.
Yeah.
That's it then. We're done. Come to our website, DM us if you've got any questions. We can't wait to share our next podcast with you. We'll see you for Ted Lasso a week on Friday night.
I'm off to grow my moustache, especially. So I can.
Me too.
So I'll end up looking like Ted Lasso. Oh, don't tell Jason; it might look like him.
Jason does a bit of channeling of Ted.
Yeah, I think he does as well.
But, we shall see. We're going to have some fun guests on that show with us. So it is just going to be like a lock-in at the pub, having a chat. So I look forward to it. It's going to be a late one here, but it's going to be great. So Kelly's on it tonight. I can't wait. Right, time to go.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the Wednesday waffle. Everyone in the chat, thank you all so much. Until the next time, waffle on.
Waffle on.